Hello, everyone. This is your host, Paul Lawrence Vann, hosting Wealth Academy podcast. And wealth is more than just money. And you're going to find that out today with Malaysia Harrell. She's going to really share some great expertise, knowledge, wisdom, and content with you. And without further ado, I want to introduce her to you, and then I'll go into the bio. Malaysia, good day. How are you doing, my friend?
Hi, Paul. I am amazing. Thank you so much for hosting me once again on your show. You're such a gracious host, and I'm just so honored to be here today.
Well, I'm honored to have you, and so is the audience. And we're definitely going to have a great time. Uh,
Absolutely.
yes. And I want people to also know that we were both cohorts in a speaker coaching program. So I
Yes.
know Malaysia just a bit. She got to know me just a bit. And we just went from start to finish with our presentations, and it just made us better people and better speakers for sure.
Absolutely. I feel like, we really developed a bond during
Yeah,
that experience and almost like a brother sisterhood because knowing that
exactly.
we're both veterans, like that just
Yeah,
really
that's the connection.
solidified the relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So today we're honored to have with us an extraordinary leader who embodies resilience, transformation, and purpose. Malaysia Harrell, she is a board certified psychotherapist, spiritual transformation coach, keynote speaker, best-selling author. She is the author of the book God Has My Six. She is an award-winning entrepreneur, philanthropist, and proud U.S. military veteran. Go U.S. Air Force. Malaysia has dedicated her life to helping high achieving women, veterans, leaders, and individuals everywhere reclaim their identity, align with their purpose, and heal from the inside out. Her impact has been recognized nationwide with features on ABC, CBS, Yahoo, and her role as a VIP executive contributor for Best Holistic Life magazine. Now, everyone, get ready because today's conversation is all about healing, transformation, and unlocking your true power. Malaysia, it's great to have you here. And your background is both diverse and powerful, from military service to psychotherapy to entrepreneurship. Can you share the pivotal moment that set you on this transformational path?
Oh, I sure can, and a little bit about my story,
Yeah,
but like so many people, we're just kind of going through life, right? We've set off on this path and we've been given this assignment, and sometimes life becomes a blur.
yes.
And I was very, very successful on the outside
Mhm.
and, had all the things. But the pivotal moment was when I had a near death experience in 2020 after following returning home from deployment. And that just really set the stage for me to reflect on my life, just to really get more clarity and more guidance on, how I needed to proceed and move forward.
Yeah,
Because again, I feel like I was moving through life. I was successful on the outside, but on the inside, I was struggling a bit because I was trying to mask some things from my own, traumas in life that I experienced. So that was the pivotal moment when I was sat down.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That was a very important time frame as well because it really
Absolutely.
added more to your foundation in
It
terms
did.
of who you are.
It,
Yes, so
it really did because I was the helper, right?
that's right.
And, helping everyone else like we tend to do. But it's not until you actually sit down to look at your own wounds and look at your own healing journey to where you're able to relate to people a lot differently. You're able to empathize with them a lot more. And so, although I wouldn't have wanted to go through that, I think it was important.
Absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. And one of the things that I looked at, I know what you had experienced. I don't know how it felt, but I know what you experienced. And there was someone I saw on a docu series recently, Bob Proctor, and he had what you had,
Yes.
and I didn't know that. Yeah, and we'll get
Yeah.
into that. deeper for sure. Now, your book, God Has My Six, has informed many and will inform many. What is the personal story or experience that led you to write it?
Well, and this is interesting, Paul, because, me, like everyone else who writes a memoir, we think, oh, I'm just going to help the masses. I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to put the message out there so that it could also help other people who need to go through their own healing journey or who've overcome that journey and now are on the next phase of transformation for their lives. And, I did not realize how challenging it would be emotionally, spiritually, to actually look at this and put this on paper and to actually give it over to someone else. But yeah, this is my memoir. It really talks
Oh,
about that journey of healing following my near death experience. And it's really a blueprint and a mechanism to help others to overcome their own traumas and their own, things that, challenges in life.
that they
So
have.
it's
Yes,
just it was just it's my give back. It is
yes.
my gratitude journal. Because I made it through, and I'm here to say that, especially with our suicide rates in the
Oh,
veteran
yes.
community,
Very
I'm
high.
here to say that you can make it through too. I'm not going to say that it will be easy, but I'm saying that with some support, with some spiritual guidance, and with some healing and some, all the therapies that you have available to you, that you can make it through as well.
Yes, and if you could share for those people who are not in the military, what God has my six. What does that mean?
Yes. So everybody, a lot of people ask me that question. And so, as you know, in the
Oh
military,
yeah,
when you look at your positioning, we use the clock to determine different positioning. So if you say, do you have my six? That means you have my back.
yeah,
And during your healing journey and any transition or transformation you're going through, it's going to feel lonely. It's going to feel very
oh,
lonely. And to know that God has my six, God has my back, it is an anchor for you to know that no matter what I go through, no matter what pillars of darkness or tunnels that I go down, God
mhm.
has my
That's
six
six.
always.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And that's a very powerful statement too. Now we hear it, like I've heard it in the military before, but when you add God to it, it's even
Right.
more impactful.
Right.
Because for the first time I heard you say that, I said, I've never heard anybody else say that before. God has
Yeah.
my six. And,
Yes.
and so it has so much meaning, and
Mhm.
you bring it to life. And of course, as you stated, it's about your life. And when we're writing those memoirs, we're actually going back, looking in the rearview mirror at our lives up until this day.
Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you for that. Now
Of
you've made
course.
Yes, you've made it your mission to help people heal from the inside out, which is very important. What does that truly mean, and how can someone begin that journey themselves?
So, ooh, this one is really good. Healing from the inside out really means to just have a high level of awareness and reflection
Mhm,
on where you've been, where you are now, and where you're going.
mhm,
But also looking at it from a perspective of being in an alignment with your divine assignment. Many
yeah,
of us, we're very successful on the
mhm,
outside, what
yeah,
society deems as successful. But what does success really mean to you if you don't have peace, if you feel like you're empty inside and you're struggling?
yeah,
So when you're in alignment with your divine assignment, and that's something, the art of surrender is one of the biggest things I've learned. When you decide to walk in that calling and be obedient, it won't feel like work. It'll feel like
yeah,
a calling. Will it be challenging?
yeah,
Absolutely. But
yeah,
in order to do your assignment, you need to be prepared. You need to grow in order to accept that assignment. And so, how we do that is really looking at, all pillars of wellness of your life and how taking a pulse and how you're faring in those now. Are you
mhm,
making money, but your relationships are not well? Are you
yeah,
making money and you don't feel like you're accomplishing anything? You feel like your soul is being sucked out of you. So we really just take a step back.
mhm,
And when in therapy, being a psychotherapist for almost 30 years,
mhm,
one of the things we learn is that with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is what do you need initially? Your food, clothing, and shelter. So
Shelter.
if you're
Yeah.
struggling, whether
Mhm.
it's inside or outside, if you're struggling, we're looking at, okay, let's dial that back a little bit. We really need food, clothing, and shelter.
Shelter.
Do we need to do all the other
All
things that we're doing? So we're basically taking a step back and looking at a deep level of reflection, and then looking at a plan that's specifically for that individual person on pulling back those layers and getting rid of some of that baggage and trauma that you may have stored up that you don't even know, and it's coming out in other ways, such as your health.
health.
It's coming
Exactly.
out, you don't understand, why am I getting these headaches, why am I getting all of these other things. And so
Sure.
just really dialing that back and setting up a plan that's specific for you to help you with your own journey.
Absolutely. Mind, body, and spirit. And,
Absolutely.
and I was having a conversation with my cousin yesterday. He's a retired Marine. And
Oh,
what he and I were talking about was the fact that I told him, I said, well, what you'll learn is that a lot of people who are at the top are the loneliest people on the planet
absolutely.
because they're so dialed into what they're doing. And
Yeah,
that's how they run into that situation where you have to work with them from the inside out. So they
that's
can,
correct.
yeah, because they're too close to it, they can't see it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and honestly, when you talk about that, when you're in alignment and you're looking at your spiritual pulse,
sure.
it won't feel lonely.
Exactly.
It won't feel lonely at all, because you'll be connected to your higher power,
Yeah,
and it won't feel that way. And a lot of times, especially in the military, like, we have to be around people, right?
exactly.
But sometimes when you transition out of that, are you around the right people to where you are now? So
Okay.
the people that you need to be around now is not necessarily the people that you were with all these other years.
Yes.
What's the book? What got you here won't get you there. So,
Exactly.
and yeah.
Absolutely. So
Mhm.
one of the things that I know that you help people with, you lead Blissful Life Coaching. If you could share more about that particular aspect of your business as well.
Yeah, so Blissful Life Consulting is a holistic mental health and wellness solutions that we provide to individuals, groups, and organizations. We also do corporate wellness
Okay.
and leadership development, but it's basically there to provide wellness solutions to ensure that your people are well at all times. And so, whatever we can do to ensure that level of wellness, we provide those services. In addition, we do provide coaching, as you mentioned, coaching services as well, to include workshops and retreats.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
wonderful. And that gets people out of that normal work today space and put them into a
Absolutely.
space that will give them some new perspective while
Yes.
they're taking in that content as well. Now, what are the aspects? I know we talked about you being in the military earlier, but you also commissioned officer as a part of the PHS and the PHS Foundation. Could you share more about that for our listeners so they can learn more on that note?
A- Absolutely. I'll be happy to. So, I started my career in the United States Air Force Air Power, which
Yeah,
you are a retiree as well.
yeah.
I went in after 9/11, of course, like many people did.
Mhm.
And after about over 7 years, I had made major, but I didn't end up pinning on. I transitioned
Sure.
into United States Public Health Service. And many people don't know why I did this, but I'll tell you here today.
Okay.
I had a brother, and he
Okay.
was tragically taken from
Mm.
us. And that day, it really set us on a different path as well. That was in
Mhm.
2008.
Hey,
And again, I had a period of reflection at that time too.
sure.
But my father, I didn't want to see my family bury another child.
Now,
Not that I couldn't be taken away at any time.
exactly.
But if I was to go to Afghanistan at that time, I thought it would be pretty challenging on my family. And so I ended up transferring to the United States Public Health Service, and that is a uniform service. It is one
Yeah,
of the now 8, now
yeah,
that we have the Space Force.
absolutely.
That is one of the 8 uniform services under the Health and Human Services and the Surgeon General of the United States, which I had an opportunity to work for
Oh,
directly. And so
fantastic.
so the United States Public Health Service, we provide, protect the health and safety of our nation. And so we deploy for man-made and natural disasters. And
Mhm.
so I've had an opportunity to deploy for many different instances, but I will say that the United States Public Health Service doesn't get enough accolades. I am on the board of trustees for the
Yeah,
Commission Officer Foundation. And, just to know that the work that our service did to support not only COVID-19, but Ebola. Our,
exactly.
our officers
I
worked
remember that
and
time.
absolutely
Mhm.
and protected our country. Our
Yeah,
country would have been, a lot of us could have been taken out from that. And so
for sure.
I really want to promote it because, again, without the health and safety of our nation, we can be taken out with our health alone, with just water alone,
Yeah.
and so, yeah,
Yeah,
my
people
hats
traveling
go
on
off.
planes and people on ships, and it can impact anyone. So that was really the front lines. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that time frame for sure. So,
Yeah, and
so
it's a little different because our officers are stationed at many
yeah,
different government agencies. And so you'll see them in Navy uniforms. And I remember, going to the VA and people will see me in my uniform and they'll say, "You look Navy, but you're not Navy." Like they can't understand, a lot of the
uh-huh,
retirees. And so, yes, that is one of the running jokes. We are not the
okay,
Navy, but in times of crisis,
sure,
we can be, put under the Department of the Navy,
yeah.
in an emergency.
Yes, because I remember when 9/11 took place, and I had been out of the country for a couple of weeks out in
Yeah,
Australia, and I went
yeah,
to, at that time it was Bethesda Medical Center. Now it's Walter Reed, and
yeah,
I went there to the door, and I said, "Well, I need to be treated because I was sick after that 24-hour flight." And they said, "We
yeah,
can't treat you; it's a state of emergency." So at that point, you all activated. You were all
yeah.
Everybody activated at that time.
Yeah, we have people activated right now, for again, the man-made, for any of
Right.
the mass shootings, like we
Yeah.
deploy for those as well.
Mhm.
So it's just one of the services that is not talked about too much. But during the President Obama administration, we did get
Right.
awarded one of the presidential medals, the
Yeah.
Puck.
Yes.
Yeah, the Outstanding
Congratulations.
Presidential Service Medal. Yeah,
Yes, congratulations. And that is very important because without our health, we really don't have that much.
absolutely.
We have to have really great health. So thank you and your cohorts and colleagues for what they do. It really makes
Yes, I'm just here to support. I'm no longer active duty,
uh-huh.
but my hats go off to them, especially during this time.
Sure. Fantastic. Now help a lot of high achieving women and veterans who are often carry silent struggles. What unique
Mhm.
challenges do you see them facing, and how do you help them overcome the obstacles? So
Ooh,
silent
well,
struggle. Yeah.
that's such a good question because veteran, when you put the word veteran, because I help women and veterans for my coaching, but
Sure.
for our wellness, we do it, for everybody.
Everybody.
But when you add veteran, that adds another layer of complexity due
Uh-huh.
to the different experiences that people have over their lifetime, over their career,
Uh-huh.
whether they've served one day or they've served 20 years or more. My hat does go off to our veteran women. And I can say wholeheartedly, with looking at that, when you talked about the challenges, I experienced it firsthand
Yeah.
myself as well. So I'm not removed from that. But our voices are not always heard.
Hmm.
And so, for instance, when I had my near-death experience, I was hospitalized in the military medical center,
Hmm.
and I had sepsis. And sepsis is a highly deadly
Yeah.
disease. And they tried to send me home. They sent in a
Hmm.
psychiatrist to evaluate me. And, there are the military sexual traumas that still go on, and not specifically to just women, to
Correct.
all different genders. But I will
Mhm.
say that there is a different level of complexity. And what I do is just provide space, right? You're really a guide, you're a support system. And from someone having the clinical wherewithal and the personal experience, I'm there to just really hold space. And last year, specifically, I founded the Malaysia Harrell Foundation, and we provide
Fantastic.
these wellness. Thank you.
Tell us
We
more.
we provide these wellness services to veteran women specifically and other underrepresented communities for mental health and wellness. And we did a mobile spa retreat
Very nice.
event. And
Very
so
nice.
at that event, we addressed, and again, it was fully self-funded and from the organization and from donations from the community members. And people were like, we need this so much more, but it was just a space. We talked about all pillars of wellness. We had people from the community, everybody donated their time, their money, their funds. And it was just a space where women were celebrated.
Yes,
And
I like programs like that, and your foundation, of course. And I've participated on quite a few, and the audience just loves it because it's something they're not used to receiving.
Absolutely.
It's
It's not.
yeah.
It's not. And here's the thing, Paul. We can complain and say, these things happen to me and I'm so upset. And of course, I thought that at one point too, like you get angry, right? And that's part of the grieving process. But at the same time, who are the people who are actually supposed to, be on the front lines of service for this? It's us. It's the community. The government, all these agencies and corporations, they can't do it alone. And we learned that in the service, right? One team, one fight. So if we all band together as a team, whether it's male, female, different ethnicities, we can really come together. And that's what I really decided, instead of being angry about my experience, I said, well, who's better to, write policy and impact policy?
The local level.
But me.
Yes.
And the people in my cohorts and people like you who understand. And so, everybody who doesn't have a pulse on the front line is not necessarily going to know what the needs are. And so that's us. We're going to band together and we're going to support each other and we're going to provide the services that are needed for our people, for our humanity in general.
Absolutely. Everybody's impacted. Yes, everybody's impacted.
Everybody.
Because a member serves on duty, they also have families. And so they're part of the military community as well.
Absolutely.
They serve as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, as both a psychotherapist and spiritual transformation coach, how do you balance science and spirituality when guiding your clients?
Ooh, this is a good one. So what I found is that over the many years of doing psychotherapy and performance services, we really do talk therapy and we're really just coming from a mental and mindset perspective.
Sure.
So it's so I'll give you this analogy. Most people who lose a lot of weight gain it back. I just watched that documentary on The Biggest Loser that's out there now. Many of those individuals have gained the weight back and plus. It's because we worked on the mindset. And if you work on mindset, that is very temporary. But when you are looking at your spirituality and your purpose, and we're not talking about religion here, because people think, oh, well, I don't go to the minute we talk about, you're doing your social assessment and people are saying, well, I haven't been to church. But, there's people who are very religious, who are very disconnected from their higher power. And so it's not a level of, the rituals that are done. The rituals are part of it because it helps enforce it, but it is not the only key. And once you start to get that connection, you get downloads. So
Yeah.
your intuitive abilities is something that's free, right? And
Mhm.
so you'll have these intuitive abilities to make decisions on a higher level. And that's what will give you true freedom and true peace. And so if you get this shiny penny job that's going to offer you
Mhm.
all this money, but inside your gut is telling you, I'm not
It's
sure,
not
you
really who you
feel it,
are.
right?
Exactly.
And so you make the decision not out of trauma, not out of fear, but
Mhm.
out of true intuition, true alignment. Then
Mhm.
your life just flows so much better. Although you have challenges, it just flows a little bit differently.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
bringing in that authenticity and to a
Yes,
purpose, their purpose as well. The
it
purpose,
is.
for sure. So let's get into that great day. We call it July 18th, the Speaker Showcase. And
Yes.
you were at the Silver Spring at the AFI Theater, and you delivered your amazing, amazing keynote.
Thank
And
you.
if you could talk about that just a bit in terms of, and the title of it is Unmasked, Becoming Who You Were Always Meant to Be.
Mhm.
Share with the viewers and the listeners exactly the foundation of the speech, what inspired you to write it, and
Yeah.
then deliver it.
So this one, it was very personal. I was very
Mhm.
emotional during that speech. For though I have a recording of it, very emotional. I had been doing
And
speaking
by the way, it
forever.
was amazing. It was amazing.
Thank you.
I
Thank
heard
you.
it.
Yeah, so I have been speaking a long time, of course,
Uh-huh.
even as an active duty member.
Yeah.
But of course, you had to be who you were in uniform, right? So you couldn't always be your authentic self and bring in all of your beliefs.
Mhm.
And so this was just a moment to really get connected with my authenticity and the message that God has given me to deliver to the world. And a lot, like I was saying before, and including myself, a lot of us are just surviving. We're in
Right.
survival mode. We're doing what we need to do, and we're doing what we think we need to do to
Mhm.
survive.
Exactly.
And once you go back to remembering, because a lot of us, we had a gift when we were little, but
Yeah.
because life came at us, we had to
Yeah.
do, we, like I said, survive.
Right.
And it's really getting to a point where you're doing that assessment, you're doing that internal review and
Mhm.
looking at how can I thrive because God has given me this gift. And when I use that gift, that is free and it's something that only I have. No one
Mhm.
has my particular gift. That is allowing you a true level of freedom and to be able to move into that thriving stage. And
Mhm.
so you just remembering and coming back to your true self.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I was able to deliver that speech. And of course, Dr. Cheryl Wood,
Oh, yeah.
being in that
Oh,
cohort, it was just such a blessing because she really helped us to refine our
yeah.
message. And I think again, I've heard from so many people from that day, and
Yeah.
it has opened up so many other opportunities to speak as well.
Absolutely. And I want to share with people about Malaysia. And as we were all getting ready, we had practice prior to the keynote delivery. And all of us had a little nerves, and all of us like, oh gosh, we got to go through it. But she got up there and she delivered. She not only delivered, she over delivered. And we were all just so happy for her, the audience, and it was really amazing. And as she stated, for those of us who have been in the military, and even those in professions, we have to take that mask off. We can't be our true selves because we have to kind of stay in line with the organization vision and mission and goals. But
Yeah.
she delivered what I call a blockbuster keynote address. And for those who were in that attendance at the AFI Theater there in Silver Spring, they were really received a great gift. And for those of you who are listening and have an organization, you need to really hear Malaysia Harrell's keynote address. She can deliver it, you all. She really
Thank
can.
you so much. And
Yeah,
thank you for saying that. Thank you for all of your support because me and you really got to talk a lot during that
exactly.
process.
Mhm.
And because I was nervous. I was
Yeah.
very nervous.
Well, that's normal. Yeah.
It was a full circle moment because they were having a retirement ceremony for
Right,
a
for the
United States
baby.
PHS officer
Right.
there. And so it was even more so like I was made for such a time as
Wow.
this. And one of the things I've always said during all of my promotions, during my awards, because I've been very successful again on the
Uh-huh.
outside,
Very.
is that you can't get to where you are without your people.
That's
So
right.
when we talk about leadership and all the people that showed up that day,
Mhm.
for whether you showed up for me or someone else, you all, that energy that you brought to the table helped all of us thrive.
All
Because I
of
will
us.
tell you, Paul,
Yeah.
Mr. Paul, you did your thing, okay? You lit that stage up. It was like being, at a Tony Robbins event,
Oh,
or a Les Brown event. That's the way I felt. I felt like I was in the vicinity of greatness.
yeah.
And they
Absolutely.
say that you are the sum of the 5 people around you. And because we had 10 people in that cohort, I
Oh,
felt
yeah.
like I was on top of the world with the great giants of speaking.
Absolutely. I did as well. And we all just, everyone, all 10 of us, we just went on there and delivered. And as you stated with Coach Cheryl Woods, she's the best of the best.
Yeah.
She, I mean, when you are coached by her, you want to do your best. You
Yeah.
want
Oh,
for yourself
listen,
and her.
listen. Listen, so it's funny that you said that. So I was really nervous in front of her and I had went over just a tiny bit and she's looking like, that mom, like
Oh,
get
yeah.
off the stage, how she does, but she's still supportive. And
Absolutely.
I actually had a partnership
Mhm.
with another organization more recently, and she was the host. She
Oh,
hosted, and I was the keynote for that,
yeah.
for a partnership
Uh-huh.
and or sponsorship that they
But she was like
sponsored.
a judge.
And I didn't
Yeah.
realize that she was gonna be, like,
Wow.
she read my bio. She
Uh-huh.
helped facilitate at the end of it. She helped facilitated the conversation and talked about the partnership. And I was nervous again, like, oh, shoot, I got to do good,
I know. I
And
know.
so, but again, iron sharpens iron. We
It
say that
does.
all the time. So I will say, if you are in a transitional state,
But
be around other people that
people,
are really trying to grow as well.
absolutely. I totally
Mhm.
agree. And like-minded people heading in the same direction, the positivity, the
Yeah.
support, and the growth. It's a
Yeah,
part of growing, which is really
it is.
wonderful as well. And congratulations on the recent event that you participated in with Dr. Woods.
Thank
You're
you.
like, oh my God, here we go.
Thank you. Again, opportunities are they
Yes.
just open up
Okay.
once because when I first started, I was nervous. I didn't want
Mhm.
to tell my story. I didn't want to be vulnerable, but I'm like, I can't. I was 254 pounds. I had
Mhm.
9 surgeries. I had Bell's
Mhm.
palsy. I was on oral chemo. Okay. And so I was shielded from the world because it was during the pandemic. And so no one actually saw that. They didn't know what happened to me. And so people always just, when you go on social media, people see the highlights and they
Exactly.
see,
They see all
they
the good
see,
stuff.
yeah, what Dr. Wood says is your chapter 14,
Exactly.
and they didn't see the
Mhm.
like you climbing out of the dirt, climbing out of darkness, trying to
Rock
keep
bottom.
yourself out of there. And
Uh-huh.
so I don't want to give this facade
Mhm.
as, oh, everything's all great, everything's perfect. You have to continue to do the work to
Yes.
even show up.
Yes. And sometimes in life, it's not so much that it's a quicksand, but it's more or less a test. It's a test
Yes,
of your faith and your
it is.
commitment, fortitude. And that,
Absolutely.
yes, and that makes a difference. And then when you look in the rearview mirror and all the work that we put into the coaching, it was like, it was worth it.
It was worth every cent, every
Yes.
minute, every ounce of energy. And again, when you continue to grow, you get even more clarity because these opportunities open up. You're thinking, how am I going to do this? I can't leave this job that's draining me because it's
Exactly.
paying the bills. But,
Mhm.
just start with doing something that you absolutely love. That's it. That's when you're in your creative space. If it was dancing, if it was music, music, if it
Music,
was art,
photography.
just
Yeah.
start doing that and you will see.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
that purpose is, for sure.
Mhm.
Now, one of the things I want to share, Malaysia, is that your work has been highlighted on major platforms. And I think I mentioned part of it before, like ABC, CBS, and Yahoo. What message are you most passionate about sharing with these audiences when you go to
Mm.
networks and their affiliates?
Um, you said so. Which
Yeah.
ones do I? Which method do I like the best?
It was you've been on major media platforms like
Yeah.
ABC, CBS, and Yahoo. What message are you most passionate about sharing with the audiences?
Oh, I am
Yeah.
most passionate about sharing the purpose and
Mhm.
authenticity.
Listening.
So taking your pain and
Yeah.
basically transforming it to your purpose, but in an authentic way.
Right.
So the thing about it is, if you have an opportunity to create your life,
Yes.
why would we not do it the way that we would want it? And I do this meditation with my
Mhm.
clients and when I do speaking engagements or I do, continuing education trainings, and it's called the perfect day.
Oh.
And what I do is I lead you through this meditation, and people are like tearful during
Mhm.
that meditation. And most of the people, when we ask people to share
Mhm.
what it is that their day looked like, they're not saying, oh, I signed this multi-million-dollar deal or I just bought my dream house. No one says that. They say, oh, I got to spend time on the beach with my children and my
Mhm.
family. It is like the basic necessities
Let's
and
see.
things that help you truly thrive in life.
Yes.
And so I love talking about that. I love sharing my story of overcoming
Mhm.
because, again, especially during the current times, during the
Sure.
past, I don't know, I say 7 years, even before the
Sure.
pandemic, we have this loneliness epidemic that our
Sure.
previous
Oh.
Surgeon General put
Mhm.
out that call to action for the loneliness epidemic. And with the age of social media and the things
Mhm.
that you see that comes out on the media, a lot of times we feel more lonely than ever. And
Ever.
so, how can we feel connected during a time when people are most disconnected?
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
we know we experienced COVID, but there may be something else coming down the line. So we have some experience, but sometimes it's just a painful experience for us all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, many leaders struggle with aligning their personal identity and professional purpose. What advice would you give to bring them both into harmony? Not only their personal identity, but their professional purpose. What advice would you give them to bring into harmony?
Yeah. So, I think going back to basics and learning who you truly are.
Fundamentally.
A
Mhm.
lot of times that takes some deep work because you're
Yeah.
so inundated with what you have going on that you're not aware. So I say practicing mindfulness.
Mhm.
Again, each day, 5 minutes of gratitude, journaling,
Yeah.
reflecting on your day.
Yeah.
And as you continue to do that, and it seems so trivial, people are
Sure.
probably like, really? That's what you're going to
Yeah.
say to me? But that's why
Yeah.
as therapists we have you do it because it's very important. You're going to start to see themes, and in times like when you first wake up and right
Mhm.
before you go to bed, that's
Yeah.
when you start to get all this information because you're most close,
Perfect.
to your subconscious level. We
Exactly.
cannot get answers when we're in our conscious level.
Sure.
It's on the inside. And
Inside.
so that's why you have them in your dreams. That's why you have them in times when you're most closest to your time to go to sleep. And so I would just start there and practicing that mindfulness. And once you do that, you'll start everywhere you go. Once you start
Mhm.
to get in tune, you'll
Sure.
feel what's right for you. So
Exactly.
some people who are transitioning out of the service or transitioning from one career to the other
Mhm.
or have a question about it, I have to go to all these networking events. I have to do, and you don't feel it. You're like,
Exactly.
it doesn't feel good. I feel my energy is lost when I go in those environments.
Uh-huh.
There's going to be that one time that you need to go to something. And
Yeah.
what I always say is, what is for you will never miss you. it will not miss you at
Yes.
all.
It
And
would show
so,
up.
and when you're in alignment, you
Yeah,
may meet somebody at the grocery store, at the
sure. Post office.
cleaners, when you're in line,
Yeah,
at a speaking engagement. So
yeah,
what is for you will not miss you, but getting clear and getting that spiritual download on what is for you and being obedient to it. We ask God for something, we're
yeah,
not prepared for the answer because it's not the answer that I want. And
absolutely.
so we're not obedient, and we keep beating our heads up against the wall for years when
Yeah,
you were told to do something, leave that job, leave that relationship, whatever is supposed to be.
right.
And yeah, so once you get the information, I
Mhm.
need you to be obedient with what it says. I don't care if it doesn't feel comfortable or not.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
That was a great synopsis. Now we have a few comments in the
Yes.
studio. I'd like to read them. Coming all the way from Italy, near Milan,
Ooh.
and in that area. And it's one of them states a question we had earlier. Sometimes you just can't evaluate and solve your problems alone. If you've got a problem, but you discuss and deal with someone you trust and rely on, the solution might be easier. And that came from Cecilia.
I love that, Cecilia. And that's so true. And one thing I would encourage Cecilia with the add on to that, when
Mhm.
you're going through these times, make sure that you were saying that you trust. Trust is very, very important. That is something
Sure.
that I'm so happy that you highlighted
Mhm.
because I didn't have trust in the medical system.
Sure.
So how could I heal in an environment that helped, that facilitate the sickness, or you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Not
Oh
help
yeah,
facilitate it, but
but
you
it
know
was a
that
part of it.
that
Yeah,
didn't validate, right? And
exactly.
so that is very important. So
Mhm.
it may not be the people that know you currently, because where you're going is no longer where you are now, and
Yeah.
those people cannot see that version of you. Only you know, and God knows what that version of you looks like. And so if you know me for
Mhm.
this, in this
Yeah,
realm, then it's going to feel very uncomfortable, because it's going to feel like a loss when we no longer go out and hang out and do happy. I mean, I wasn't doing that for
exactly.
years anyway, but whatever that was that you were
Right.
doing all that time, you
Uh-huh.
may not do it in the same way. But there may be some people who are also on that elevation journey, and you do it together.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
another question is a comment. I think it's about it came from another question. I think it's about longing for something and trying to achieve it. What Malaysia called the purpose. So looking at what one's purpose is, and aligning also with that person, that purpose, and with the passion one has for life as well. So we want to thank
That'll
you for
change your life.
yes.
That will change. I thought I was gonna be a senator on the Hill. Like I was really wanting all these things,
Sure,
these titles. Of course, I wanted to help change humanity as well.
sure.
But can I do that with my nonprofit as opposed to having to adhere by certain, thought processes? You
Sure,
can go with the mission of whatever the mission that God gave you. It changes
sure.
the game.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
it can also lead to someone that you develop and you
Yeah.
cultivate through the coaching and through the programs. They may
Yes.
very well be the ones that take it forward.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's the people who are around you, the people who, because even with the people that I work with, of course, I see long-term relationships there. They may be facilitating some of the things within the
Mhm.
programs. And so, yeah, just being mindful of even the connections that you're making. You never know who that person you need or who needs you to get to that next level.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I tell you, we're getting close to closing out this episode, which is a wonderful episode, by the way.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you, Malay.
Paul.
Do you have some final words for the viewers and listeners that they can carry with them, given today's climate? We have a lot of challenges in life, and maybe you can provide some words of wisdom to people to just keep going forward. Or
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. There's a lot of challenges right
Mhm,
now.
mhm,
And I'm so glad that you have this platform to be able to put positivity and light into the universe, into the atmosphere, because it's very, very, very important. And so, what I would say is during any times of challenge, any times of strife, that is the time to really sit back and, hold space for not only yourself, but for your fellow humans around you. Hold
Yes.
space. Everybody is dealing with something. I don't care what
Mhm.
they look like. Everybody is dealing with something. And if
But
someone treats you a certain way, just
you-
know that that may be coming from their own source of pain. And so just having a level of empathy and
Mhm.
grace for yourself and others, and looking at and even if you're struggling,
Sure.
okay, what can I do to sow one little seed of light, of love, of gratitude into humanity and into society? It is really up to us to be the change that we want to see in the world, right? Is what Gandhi, I have
Absolutely.
that sign in one of my rooms so I can see that every day. But you are the change. The change starts with you. So no matter what you see in the world, just know that it all comes back to you and the
Yeah.
decisions that you make every single day. Maybe you're baking some cupcakes and you're giving them
Mhm.
to all the neighbors so that when they're going through things, or bringing them into work. But either way, the change starts with you.
Oh, absolutely. That was so well stated and so impactful because
Thank
people really need to hear that because oftentimes they don't. And so you made a difference, Malaysia. And Malaysia, thank you for sharing your wisdom and
you.
powerful story with us today. Your book,
Thank you.
yes, you're welcome. Your book, God Has My Six, along with your life's work, is a testament to the strength, resilience, and faith it takes to heal from the inside out. Your journey reminds us that true transformation begins within and that living with purpose is not just possible, but it's necessary. So I want
Necessary.
to thank you and salute you
Thank
for
you.
being so gracious with your time, your talent, your expertise, wisdom, knowledge, abilities, everything. And
Thank
my
you.
my time is up, and I thank you for yours. And I'll ensure that when I have the show notes, that I put all of your contact information in there. And if you could just share what your website is right now.
Sure. I'm located on probably most platforms. Malaysia H. Harrell, mostly on Instagram and TikTok, and of LinkedIn, Malaysia Harrell. And my websites are malaysiaharrell.com, especially for speaking engagements and tours, and blissfullifeconsulting.com for mental health and wellness services.
Fantastic. And again, here's her book, God Has My Six. Outstanding. And she fulfilled the obligation today to deliver a masterpiece, and she did. And we are very thankful to Malaysia Harrell for
Thank
that.
you.
And before we go, we have a comment here from Cecilia. She said, thank you. So she said, thank you. You are amazing.
Thank you, Cecilia, as
Yes.
are you.
Yes. And so I want everyone to go out to episode, this will be episode 308. Go to Apple
Wow.
Podcasts, go to Spotify, go to Amazon Music, and wherever you get your podcasts, and listen to this episode. Recommend it to your family, your friends, your colleagues, your clients, because this is one that they really can't afford to miss. And so I encourage them to do so. Again, my time is up and I thank you for yours. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you on the next episode of Wealth Academy Podcast. Have a wonderful evening, Malaysia.
Thank you. God bless you, Paul.
God bless you as well.